To remove and replace the system board. Important: when you replace the system board assembly, you must update the compute node with the latest firmware or restore the pre-existing firmware. Make sure that you have the latest firmware or a copy of the pre-existing firmware before you proceed. Remove any storage drives, optional drive components, and hard disk drive bay fillers from the defective system board assembly and set them aside on a static protective surface. Note: when removing the storage drives, make note of the drive bay from which the drive was removed so that you can install the drive back into the same drive bay. Remove the storage drive bezel from the defective system board assembly and immediately install it on the replacement system board assembly. Remove the covers from both compute nodes. Remove the air baffle from the defective system board assembly and set it aside. If a RAID adapter is installed in the defective system board assembly, remove it and set it aside on a static protective surface. Remove the hard disk drive backplane from the defective system board assembly and immediately install it in the replacement system board assembly. Install any removed disk drives, optional drive components, and disk drive bay fillers into the replacement system board assembly. Remove all of the installed components from the defective system board assembly. Then, immediately install them on the replacement system board assembly. If a RAID adapter was removed from the defective system board assembly, install it in the replacement system board assembly. Transfer processor and heatsink assembly 1 from the defective system board assembly to the replacement system board assembly. Attention: remove and install only one processor at a time. When removing or installing a processor, protect the other processor socket with the processor heatsink filler. When transferring a processor to a replacement system board assembly, install the processor heatsink filler in the defective system board assembly immediately after installing the processor in the replacement system board assembly. Remove the DIMMs one at a time from the defective system board assembly. Attention: remove and install only one DIMM at a time. If a TCM module is installed, gently remove it from the defective system board assembly and immediately install it on the replacement system board assembly. Attention: TPM/TCM policy settings may need to be made when the TCM module is reinstalled on the replacement system board assembly. Remove all of the installed components in the following list from the defective system board assembly. Then, immediately install them on the replacement system board assembly. I/O expansion adapters and other optional components. Install the air baffle in the replacement system board assembly. Note: retaining clips on the DIMM connectors must be in the closed position to install the air baffle. Remove the fabric connector from the defective system board assembly and install it in the replacement system board assembly. Install the cover that you removed from the original system board assembly onto the replacement system board assembly. Note: retention clips that secure the I/O expansion adapters must be in the closed position to install the cover. If a blank ID label plate is on the replacement system board assembly, remove it and discard. Remove the ID label plate that has machine type and serial number information from the front panel of the defective system board assembly and immediately install it on the replacement system board assembly. Note: if your compute node has an RFID tag, it is already attached to the ID label plate.